Okay, let us continue dividend residual theory. So I go back to the first point. So dividend residual theory are the dividends that are paid only if the profits are not completely used for investment purposes. That means, right, the earning of the company will firstly be used, okay, will be used for the investment purposes, and then the balance, right, or if there is any residual amount refers to the remaining amount. Then if there is any residual amount or remaining amount of the earning, then that remaining amount will be what is it will be paid as the dividend. So therefore, right, the dividend policy should be maintained under this theory. If the companies apply this dividend residue theory, the company should maintain the optimum debt ratios in financing future investment, so that there will be no excess of the borrowing. Otherwise, the company will become financially distressed if the company borrow more than the optimum debt ratio, right? And secondly, when the company firstly use the earnings of the company for the investment purposes, that mean the company must accept the investment that have MPV, a positive MPV. Okay, right. And then the next one, finance the equity portion of new investment first, right, by internally generated funds. That means under dividend residual theory, the company will use the earnings of the company first for financing the investment of the company or any projects, new projects. If they don't have enough, then they need the external, then they will go to external fund. Okay, right. However, the balance of the internal fund will be paid as the dividend. Let's say if the company needs additional fund, that means then the company will go to the external financing, right? As long as what the borrowing from the external financing, right, is not more than or not beyond the optimum debt ratio. Okay. Okay, the next one, we go to the dividend policy relevance theory, which is introduced by Gordon and Liner. So this is actually, however, when we apply the Modigliani and Miller theory, so with the assumptions that have no transaction costs, no taxes, market is perfect, right? So in reality, right, the transaction costs and taxes do involve in the trading of the stock. Okay, right. The taxation and transaction costs do impact on the dividend policy of the firm, that cause homemade dividend become costly. So this is the reality actually, right? If you are using Modigliani and Miller's theory just now, it sounds like not realistic because they assume taxation zero, transaction cost also zero. Okay, but Gordon and Liner become more realistic, whereby the homemade dividend policy, right, which is made by investors or shareholders to top up the income, okay, is actually very expensive, okay, because it involves this cost. Okay, according to Gordon 1962 and Liner 1964, argued that investors value current dividends more than future dividends or capital gain when making decisions related to stock. That means from this um, statement, right, provided by Gordon and Liner, so that means they found that investors prefer current dividend income because it is less risky. Okay, due to that, dividends are more predictable and are more certain as compared to the capital gains. Okay, right, it is less risky, right, lead to lower discount rate, will lead to higher firm's value. Okay, and then dividend Gordon growth model, the firm's value and growth potential. So high dividend will attract investors to buy, right, to buy the stock. So this will increase the value of the firm. Okay, and then when investors perceive earnings is good. Okay, that means under dividend policy introduced by Gordon and Lina, that is relevance theory. Okay, they found that dividend income is actually relevant to the firm's value. If the company pay high dividend, that means it gives us a good signal to the investors that the company is doing well. That's why the company's value will be increased. Okay, right. One of the specific name under the dividend policy relevance theory is the bird in the hands theory. Okay, so this is what introduced by Gordon and Lina just now. Okay, under bird in the hand theory, right, same as the general definitions of the relevance theory of dividend, which implies that the investors prefer dividends from stock investing rather than potential capital gain. Why is that? Because dividend income more certain, right? And also more what? More predictable. Okay, right. Um, so this theory is developed by Gordon and Lina, okay, as a counterpoint lah. So that means this theory can be considered as a counterpoint to the Modigliani and Miller dividend irrelevance theory. Okay, where they found that assumptions used by Modigliani and Miller are not realistic. Okay, so the key points for the bird in the hands theory, okay, says that investors prefer dividends to potential capital gain due to the uncertainty of capital gain. So in other words, dividend income is more certain, say, as compared to the capital gain. Okay, so this is what Gordon and Lina said or found in their research. Okay, right. Another one is the dividend relevance policy and investors. So this is specifically relates to the clientele effect. So clientele effect is actually the idea uh, of paying dividend based on the types of investors. So in other words, clientele effect relates to the types of investors, because we know that, right, there are different groups of investors who may be in the high tax bracket or low tax bracket. Normally the investors who are in the low tax bracket is the pensioner, widow, orphan, right? And these people is actually rely on the fixed income, so that's why they value dividend higher than capital gain. Okay, and they are in low income tax bracket. Okay, alright, and therefore they need a regular cash income as source of fund to meet their living expenses. So therefore they prefer to invest in the high dividend payout company. Okay, high dividend payout company will be attracted to this particular group of clientele or investors. Okay, so this will lead to increase in demand for the firm's share, okay, and positive effect on the firm's value. Okay, right. Some clientele would prefer a company that doesn't pay dividend at all. Okay, why is that? Instead they prefer the company to make use of the company's earning to finance the project that have a positive NPV. In other words, to invest in the profitable investment or project. Right, so this investor believe that the good growth potential and positive NPVs project will increase the earning of the company, and this will increase the share price, right? And apparently will create healthy capital gains to the shareholders. So therefore, okay, these kind of investors will prefer the low dividend payout company. That means we prefer to invest in the company who pay low dividend. Why? One of the reason is that they are actually in the group of professional or employees or wealthy and sufficient investors, sufficient earnings investors, because they get fixed income, okay, and high income, and also they are paying higher income tax. Okay, so they are paying high income tax. So that's why they prefer low dividend payout company, because if they receive high dividend, that means there will be more income have to be what reported to the inland revenue, and they have to pay tax on the income received from the total income received. Okay, right. So the existence of the clientele effect here implies that certain investors buying shares because of the dividend policy employed. So firms need to adopt a stable and consistent dividend policy. Okay. Those who prefer dividend gain over capital gain, that means dividend income rather than capital gain income, there are a subset of clientele might prefer a stock that pays high dividend. That means they will invest in the company with which paying high dividend and regular dividend income, while another subset or another investors might look for a balance between dividend payout and reinvestment in the company. So that means they prefer low dividend income. Okay, so any change in the dividend policy would influence the clientele group that might force them to sell the shares, that eventually will result in a drop in the share price. So this will happen if the majority of the shareholders, okay, are in the um, low tax bracket. Okay, all right.